All right, today we've got Emily Henderson here with us. She's had a lot of success with getting some offers accepted. So the two of us are going to walk through some of the ways here at the Delia Group we get offers accepted that maybe your agent or other agents don't know.
So I'd say there's probably like five main things that we've been doing to get offers accepted. Number one, I would say one of the biggest successes I've had is kind of asking buyers to expand like their geographic area. I had one buyer who was looking in Troy and Bloomfield, got super frustrated. They were like the second best offer on 3 homes. I asked them to maybe change it up a little bit. We started looking in North Warren. The wife fell in love with the school. She's Ukrainian. They have a great Ukrainian school out there. And they ended up getting a home that they loved for like $100,000 less than they would have paid in Troy. And then right now, like this week, I have another couple who is living in Sterling Heights and Clinton, getting super frustrated. We moved down to Westland. They're really familiar with that area. They like it. First offer we wrote, it got accepted. So they're super happy.
Yeah, and I'd say sometimes you can, school districts, so like Rochester School District goes beyond just Rochester, right? So if you're looking for a specific school district, don't necessarily pigeonhole yourself to one city. Our MLS allows you to actually just search by school district. So that's another thing to consider as well. Michigan's one of these states that we call easy in, hard out, meaning the buyers enter it and they really don't have a lot of cost. One of the ways we get it is we move stuff from the seller side. I call it easy in, hard out, meaning when you sell, you're going to have more expenses associated with selling, which is usually okay because you've built equity up over time that you're then paying some of these expenses, where buyers typically is trying to strap dollars together to get the deal done. One of the things that buyers that have some cash available, one of the things they can do is offer to pay seller's transfer tax. So in the state of Michigan, every $1,000, $7.50 gets charged in terms of tax, and then the county charges depending on what county also. So death and taxes is always the case, right? And so one of the things you can do is take on that tax, bring it to the buyer side. It's a really, really good strategy. So what would you say number 3 is?
I think one thing that makes a really big difference, just call the listing agent. I always call them before I go to the showing, just so I know what to talk to my buyers about, some things to point out. And then if they're interested, especially if I know it's a hot property, as soon as I get in the car, we're done with that showing, I'm calling them. There's always going to be one thing. If you have a really good conversation with a listing agent, you might get just a leg up because you can figure out that one thing to the sellers that is really important and is really going to make your offer stand out.
All right, so number 4, bigger earnest money deposit. Reality is earnest money deposit shows how serious you are. It's kind of a relic of the past in a lot of ways because the vast majority of the time it's really difficult for sellers to collect it. That said, if you do get more, it does push it up into, $5,000 as a threshold for small claims court. So if you go above that amount with your small claims, we're always a minimum of 1% as kind of our threshold. But the higher you can go on that, the more serious you are. If this is your dream house, that's something to consider. If you're 50-50, maybe you're not putting a non-refundable, but it's certainly an option. What would you say number 5 is?
I think another really good thing to do, and it can be, in my opinion, a win-win for the seller and the buyer, but it does give you that leg up, is a pass-fail inspection. It's not as binding or as scary as just not doing an inspection at all. It just basically says we are either going to pass this inspection or fail this inspection. Either there's a couple things that come up and it passes and we just move on, or maybe something really scary comes up and you can just fail the inspection and everybody kind of is happy in that situation.
Yeah, one of the things that the way it actually works with the pass-fail inspection is usually buyers aren't backing out over a GFCI outlay.
Yeah.
They're backing out because something major has happened, meaning on the next buyer is going to have the same objection, right? Just because it's pass-fail inspection doesn't mean the seller won't want to engage in order to keep that deal together. So you really do have still the ability to negotiate in a lot of ways, but up front, it goes to show that you're not going to nickel and dime them.
Yes.
Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, totally. It's only for the big stuff. And like you said, if another buyer, if there's mold in the attic, like the whole attic needs to be redone, they might just negotiate with you rather than go look for a new buyer who probably isn't going to want to mold the attic either.
And then number 6, we have two bonuses for you. Really work with an agent that has a reputation of being someone who's good to work with. And I know that might sound weird, but I think you'd be surprised about how important who you select to be your agent actually is, because a lot of times offers get accepted as a result of people having previous experience. Real estate's one of these businesses where it's an 80-20 principle. 80% of the business gets done by 20% of the people. So those 20% of people are working together pretty consistently. And so if they've never heard of your agent, or your agent has a poor reputation, the chances of your offer getting accepted, if it's 50-50 or if it's about the same as someone else's, they're going to go with the person that they know works well with them versus the person who they know is going to be a challenge the entire time. And then last but not least is an appraisal guarantee. If you have a lot of cash to work with, or you feel as though you're very confident that it's going to appraise, an appraisal guarantee, and we don't like doing full appraisal guarantees, put a gap, right, between this amount and this amount for what you have and what you're willing to essentially risk. It's a little bit like gambling. Make an appraisal guarantee for that bracket, that if it was to come in low, the seller still gets their sale price. So those are the 7 things, the ways we're getting offers accepted, and Emily's doing a great job of that, so congrats.
Thanks.
Thank you.